The sole purpose of this video is to provide a basic overview and orientation of your new apparatus. This video is not intended to act as or replace individualized driver-operator training. Individual fire departments may base guidelines, policies, and procedures tailored for best practices. Pierce Manufacturing and Hughes Fire Equipment representatives are not liable for injuries caused from acts resulting from actions inconsistent with the information provided within this video and/or accompanying manuals. Refer to the Operation and Maintenance Manual for complete details relating to the components and features of this apparatus. Only trained personnel should operate this vehicle or perform maintenance. You are responsible for learning how to operate this fire apparatus under all conditions without having to refer to the manual while operating at an emergency incident. This video will discuss types of warnings and caution labels. It is your responsibility to locate and identify each of the labels and understand the importance and associated hazards. Warning labels will point out procedure that must be taken or action that must be avoided to guard against the possibility of serious injury or death. Caution labels will advise you that there is a risk of damage to property if certain precautions are not followed. Continuous training, reviewing of operation and service manuals, developing good standardized practices will assist driver operators with a more complete understanding of the components and operation of this fire apparatus. As the driver operator of this vehicle, you are responsible for understanding the function of each component of the apparatus, maintaining control of the fire apparatus at all times while in operation. Make operational and functional changes while operating at an emergency without having to read operator's instructions or safety warning labels. Operate manual override and emergency shutdown procedures immediately if a component fails to operate properly. Components location may vary with each Pierce fire apparatus. Review the exact location of each component prior to operation. Major inconsistencies between your vehicle and the information contained in this video should be directed to your sales representative. Safe operation of any vehicle is the responsibility of the driver operator. You must learn the location and function of all controls, switches, gauges, valves, inlets, and discharges. Due to a higher center of gravity, heavy trucks have a significantly higher rollover tendency than other types of vehicles. To reduce the risk of rollover, avoid making sharp turns, excessive speed, and avoid abrupt maneuvers. In the event of a rollover crash, an unbelted person is significantly more likely to become injured or die than a person wearing a seatbelt. In the event of a crash, unbuckled occupants can also become a hazard to other occupants, as they may be thrown around inside the cab. Seatbelts are required while in operation. Please refer to your warranty certificates for details and information enclosed in your manuals. Customer-installed equipment must be mounted to withstand road travel and comply with NFPA 1901. Modifications such as drilling holes or welding to structural frame components of the chassis are not permitted. Contact Pierce for instruction and review of non-structural sheet metal or other dissimilar metals for modification. Follow the radio installation guide for further assistance on installing or mounting electronics. Before placing your new apparatus into service, perform a primary inspection of key components of the apparatus, including all fluid levels, anti-lock braking systems, electronic stability control, and automatic traction control. Weigh your apparatus to ensure that it conforms to axle and brake ratings. Never exceed the gross axle rating printed on the label inside the cab. Exceeding these ratings could lead to reduced component life, personal injury, or death. Review the use of auxiliary braking systems, compression brake, exhaust brake, electronic retarder, and hydraulic retarder. Before placing the apparatus in service, refer to the operational maintenance manuals. Information on the operation and maintenance functions for the components such as the pump, pressure governor, and foam systems, along with other options, is provided in either the Pierce manuals and/or other manufacturer support information delivered with the apparatus. If you need more information, please contact Hughes Fire Equipment. Congratulations, Joseph City Fire District, Arizona, on your new Pierce Fire apparatus, job number 36515. Please utilize that 5-digit job number when referencing your apparatus with Hughes Fire Equipment and Pierce Manufacturing. We'll get started on a brief orientation of your new Wildland truck. Starting just under the front bumper, you'll find 2 open-ended tow hooks on the passenger and driver's side frame rail. Moving to the very center, the cutout area will be for your winch pass-through. Moving to the outer edges on an angle is your electronic siren and PA speaker system on the passenger and driver's side. Moving up onto the outer edge, you'll find an 1.5-inch swivel discharge. As we move toward the center, you'll find 2 storage locations, 2 outer edges for hose storage, and the center for your winch area. Moving up to the grill, you'll find forward-facing emergency warning lights. As we move out to the outer edge, headlight structure housing low and high beam headlights, and a turn indicator. Moving up onto the area where the Freightliner logo is where you'll find the grab handle for gaining access to tilt the hood. Moving to the outer edge, you'll find your mirror housing a flat and convex mirror on the passenger and driver's side. Moving up to the brow, you'll find your clearance lights, and on the very top section, you'll find your emergency warning light bar. Let's take a look at some close-ups of those items we just talked about. First, let's start underneath the front bumper, where you'll find the tow hooks on the passenger and driver's side frame rail. Moving to the center cutout is where you'll find a 15,000-pound maximum allowable winch rating. That's the cutout location for it passing through the front bumper. As we move to the outer edge, you'll find D-handle gains access into hose storage for each side, passenger and driver's side. Just behind that, you'll find the cutout for the open and close valve for those 1.5-inch discharge. As we move inside the area, you'll find dry deck material inside. As we move to the winch, on the right side here, you'll find your free spool tension, and then as we move to the right, you'll find your remote location for plug-in. Moving further to the right, same thing as we have on the passenger side, hose storage, cutout, and also 1.5-inch swivel discharge. Reach to the very back section is where you'll find the ball valve for open and close. As we move to the side, on the angled area is where you'll find your PA speaker and electronic siren. Moving further onto the bumper extension, you'll find a side-facing emergency warning light. As we move back to the grill area, you'll find your forward-facing emergency warning lights. Let's move from this location out to the side fender area where we'll have the headlight structure housing low, high beam, turn indicator, and also marker. Moving to the top section of the hood is where you'll find your air inlet. Also in the same vicinity on the top of the fender is where you'll find your turn indicator light. As we move to the rear section of the hood area is where you'll find the release on the passenger and driver side. As we look down to the axle, you'll find Michelin tires and steel wheels. Moving further back on the driver's side is where you'll find your fuel tank ultra low sulfur diesel. It is the silver cap. As we move just to the rear of that, you'll find your blue cap, which is your DEF fill location. Moving up to the A pillar is where you'll find your flat and convex mirror on the door area. As we move to the door itself, you'll find your grab handle easily accessible with a gloved hand, and it is also a keyed lock. As we move to the door panel on the inside, you'll find a fixed door panel, safety and warning placard information. You'll also find this yellow placard, which we'll go over next. This is the manufacturer's placard indicating the date of manufacture, 5-digit job number, gross vehicle weight rating, cold tire inflation, VIN number, all of the fluid capacities and fluid types. Let's go ahead and move inside at the top section of the door panel where you'll find your mirror control for passenger and driver side. As we move into the floor area, we'll start at the very base of the seat of the driver position. This is where you'll find your master battery switch for on and off. As we move to the seat itself, it is an air ride comfort seat. You'll find front to back on the latch in the very front section, and you'll find on the left-hand side of the operator is where your raise and lower for the air ride system. As we move to the very bottom section, just to the base of the seat area, you'll find an audible alarm, and you'll also find the VMUX diagnostic port. Let's move to the dash area. On the left, you'll find a placard indicating the height, length, and gross vehicle weight rating of your vehicle. Also, you'll find speed control, headlights, and also increase, decrease for panel lights when in preview of the operator. Your ignition is a keyed ignition on the left knee of the operator. As we move to the dash, we'll start at the top with your oil pressure. Moving downward, we have the water temperature. And at the very bottom left gauge, this is your transmission temperature. Moving toward the center, you'll find your tachometer on the left side. Moving to the right, you'll find your speedometer. As we move all the way up into the very far right-hand corner of the dash cluster, it's where you'll find your ultra low sulfur diesel gauge. It is a shared gauge along with your DEF fill location. Moving downward, we'll find the front air, and then just beneath that, you'll find rear air. As we move to the center, just above the speedometer and tachometer, you'll find diagnostic information display, and also tally lights will display in this area. Let's move just to the right of the dash area where you'll find your filter miner. This is for your air filter engine. As we move downward, you'll find the Allison transmission digital readout with a readout pad in the very center. Moving just to the right, we'll find a few switches. Let's start first on the left-hand side. This is going to be your Regen Switch. Moving to the right, you'll find the yellow diamond, which is your pull to apply your system parking brake, and push to release. Moving further to the right, we have a load range for low and also high range. Moving further to the right, we have all-wheel drive. This is a lock-up switch. And then moving further to the right, you'll find 12-volt access via USB and also power outlet barrel style. As we move down, you'll find your mirror heat and then differential lock. Moving further down, you'll find climate control and additional cup holders. As we move to the center console, at the very top section, we have all of our colored tally lights indicating green or red. Further down, you'll find a switch panel for your emergency master. And moving further down, the next switch panel you'll find for your main pump, and then also high idle and perimeter lighting. As we move back up to the very far right side, this is your electronic siren and PA speaker system. This vehicle does pump and roll, so we have a pump digital readout for the pressure and also a water tank level indicator right next to it. As we move further to the right, you'll find the control or module system for your Darley pump. There is prime, start, shutdown override, pressure or manual, speed, and on and off. Directly behind that, you'll find additional storage location for resource material. As we move overhead in front of the driver and officer position, you'll find additional storage. To the rear seat is where you'll find a bench seat across the back for 3 positions. Let's move exterior now. This is directly behind the last position in the cab area, where you'll find D-handle gains you access into a storage location. Moving up to the very top section of the step, this is going to be your power supply, battery charging receptacle. Let's take a look inside. D-handle once again gains access to this space, and we'll then move now to the pump panel area, starting down at the very bottom section of the pump panel. Let's move down just underneath the pump area under the running board, where you'll find on the very far left is your master drain and then all of your color-coded discharge drains. As we move up onto the pump panel area, we'll find the driver's side auxiliary inlet. This is locally controlled via a ball valve and is also female coupling. Moving up, we have a warning placard indicating do not mix different brands or consistencies of foam for the possibility of foam failure. Moving down, you'll find the red lever. This is your draft foam tank lever. And then just beneath that, you'll find the pickup location for your foam tank. Moving to the right, you'll find the 2.5-inch driver's side number 1 discharge, locally controlled via a ball valve. Let's move up onto the pump panel, where you'll find your large diameter pump inlet. This is on the driver's side. We also have a few placards here. These are strictly for your Husky 3 foam system specifications and instructions. Moving up, you'll also find additional warning label regarding pressure hazard. Caps may be under pressure. Be cautious when opening them. Same pump panel control here as we have in the cab. We have on the side of the pump panel area. Also, tank fill and recirculating line, and then just underneath that, your tank to pump. Do note, in is open and out is closed. On the left, you'll find your dead lay. Moving just to the right of that location, we'll find the speed lay for number 1. You'll notice also that these are foam capable by the red language in the print. Moving further to the right, you'll find the real discharge, water and foam capable, and also your engine cooler. Those are both twist, not pull. Let's move up to the very top section of the pump panel, identify a few items here. This is your master discharge gauge. Just beneath that, you'll find the master pump intake gauge. As we move down from this location, you'll find your pressure throttle governor. We'll go over that in the next set of images. And as we move to the very top section, you'll also find information regarding your pump rating placard. Moving further down, we have a combination water and foam level indicator. Moving further down into the red module, this is your Husky 3 foam system operating module. There are instructions on the placard for its operation. Let's move back up to the very top section where you'll find this black speaker. The outer edge of this device does rotate, allowing you to dampen or brighten the sound. Just beneath that, you'll find your pump hours and then also a placard. This is the minimum operation maintenance pump schedule for testing for 150, 200, and 250 psi. Just to the right of that location, these are your vacuum and pressure test gauge ports. They are currently plugged and are used for testing purposes. We do have some switches at the very bottom. The first one identified as the pump panel light. The additional are spare. Moving further to the right, you'll find a push button for your reel rewind, and at the very top, your OK to pump indicator. As we look at the pressure throttle governor, if illuminating yellow, it is the check engine light that's indicating. As we move to the center, you'll find a digital readout for the RPMs. Just to the right, if illuminated, it would be red in color. That is a stop engine indicator. Moving further down on the panel, you're going to find the orange button that says Menu. This allows you to scroll through the various menu functions. Just in the center, you're going to find all your tally information regarding engine information. And then to the right, you'll find a red silence button. This allows you to silence any alarms that may be caused by your pressure throttle governor. As we move down, you have two options, pressure mode or RPM mode. Moving to the center, you'll find a digital readout. And then also just to the right, you'll find a throttle ready. That'll be a white greenish color. And as we move down, you'll find the preset, which is a green button. That's allowing you to preset any pressure or RPM settings. As we move down, you'll find the throttle control, right to increase, left to decrease, push in the center for idle position. Let's go ahead and move just to the right of the pressure throttle governor where you'll find your Husky foam system, and then also to the right your minimum operation maintenance schedule. Close-ups here of the items we just talked about. Let's go ahead and move just above the pump panel where you'll find your booster reel or red line. It's a 1-inch line. At the very top upper left corners where you'll find the tension and free spool knob. Let's move now to the axle on the rear where you'll find steel wheels and Michelin tires. As we move up, we have two storage locations, one in front of and one of rear of the rear axle. Let's go ahead and take a look at some of the compartments now, starting at the very front section. This is directly over the rear axle. As we move to the rear section, you'll find an additional storage compartment just behind the rear axle. We'll go ahead and move around now to the rear section of the vehicle. Let's start first with the lower section of the vehicle near the rear tailboard, where you'll find on the passenger and driver side additional drop-down steps. In addition with the drop-down steps, you'll find your tailboard emergency warning lights, and then your cluster housing a turn, reverse, and brake light. You'll also find a few warning placards located within this area. First, we'll start with Entanglement Hazard. Because of those lines coming from aloft, there's the possibility of entanglement. Also a warning regarding fall hazard, never ride on the vehicle while it's in motion. And if you're climbing onto the vehicle, always face the vehicle. Let's move up to the very top section where you have additional storage on the left and right side via the pan door. It's also accessible via the top section in the hatch compartment area. Let's go ahead and move down to the very bottom section where you'll find additional discharges located at the lower section. We'll go ahead and start from the left side and work all the way across to the right side. First, let's start with a warning placard. We do have a cap warning regarding pressure hazard, driver's side rear discharge, As we move toward the center, you'll find a direct tank fill. These are all locally controlled at the valve. And then also passenger side discharge. You can see the red lettering indicating that it is foam capable. There is also a backpack fill location in the lower right side. As we move to the rear compartment, double doors gain access into this space, LED lighting inside. Quick view at the very top section of your hose bed that's split on the passenger and driver side. As we look underneath, you'll find additional shackles located at the very bottom section and your backup alarm. As we move to the passenger side, you'll find ladder storage location for a combination roof and also long-handled tools. This is the upper driver side compartment. Once again, access via the hatch also. As we move to the dunnage area, this is directly behind the cab, you'll find your booster reel. As we move toward the center area, you'll find your Husky foam system hydraulic reservoir. There's also a fill check location in this area. And as we move to the very far right, you'll find your additional pump engine located on the right-hand side. Full view of the cab area, emergency warning light in the upper portion. Hatch compartments. As we look inside, D-handle gains us access into this space. This is location for the top fill of your water tank and then also top fill location for your foam tank. Let's go ahead and move back down to the passenger side. We'll start down at the rear section of the vehicle, just behind the rear axle. Same configuration as we have on the driver's side. Starting just behind the rear axle, you'll find an emergency warning light and then also an additional pan door. As we move forward of this location, you'll find the same compartment configuration. Same additional storage in front of and rear of the axle area. And then we'll move down to the location just in front of the rear axle is where you'll find your exhaust. Caution, extremely hot diesel exhaust temperatures do exist. Be cautious where you park your vehicle. As we move to the section where the pump is located and discharges, you'll find a long-handled storage compartment. D-handle gains access into that space. Once again, warning placard regarding extremely hot diesel exhaust temperatures, and then also passenger side auxiliary inlet drain. Just above that, you'll find the passenger auxiliary inlet, 2.5-inch ball valve female coupling. As we move up from this location, you'll find your dead lay and then also a 1.5-inch reduced discharge. Additional warning placards regarding pressure hazard. Let's go ahead and take a look at a full view here of the cab area on the passenger side. Same configuration and layout. Let's take a look in this area. First, starting just under the cab area where you'll find additional storage. Double door D-handle gains you access into this space, and then also LED lighting step lights in these areas also. As we move just inside the cab area in the rear, you'll find the bench seat. There are also grab handles at each location at the pillar locations. As we move to the officer's position, same configuration. We also have a downward facing mirror at the upper portion for the operator. Moving to the rear section of the front fender is where you'll also find the latch release mechanism, passenger and driver side, for tilting the hood. As we move to the front, Michelin tires and steel wheels. Let's go back up to the top of the fender area where you'll find the turn indicator located at the very top section of the fender. Moving around to the front headlight structure housing low and high beam headlight, turn indicator, and marker light. Let's take a look at the front bumper area where you'll see the side facing emergency warning light, and then a general view picture here from the passenger's viewpoint. Congratulations, Joseph City Fire District, Arizona, on your new Pierce fire apparatus, job number 36515. If you have any questions, please contact your Hughes Fire sales representative. Thank you and congratulations.